This is Mary at the.meri.atelier, and I am going to show you how I created my art journal for January of 2022. I am using different papers here. I start out using some 11 by 17 cream colored copy paper. I thought I'd use some tissue paper, but I decided against it. I'm using some ledger paper and some peach dyed paper that I got at Keisha's Creations Marketplace, created by Janet Baum. And I am binding everything together into 2 signatures. And I'm just doing a pamphlet stitch. This is not a tutorial. I want to make that clear. I put this into fast forward. This is more a very quick demonstration of how I created the journal. I worked for about 4 hours creating this journal, so I needed to condense it down into a video that could be watched. My spine on that journal cover was about 1 inch, and I knew that I needed more room, so I broke the spine, cut it off, and I'm creating a 3-inch spine. And you can see there I am gluing it onto the outside of the journal cover. The journal cover I also got at Keisha's Creations. It's an old ledger journal, and it's a soft cover one, and it was, I think I only paid $1 for it. And it's very distressed. I love it. I love it. And it has some of the original ledger papers in the front and the back. And then I was able to purchase some ledger papers that go in there too. So I decided to cover the spine with some fabric I got at Joann's. It has a print of postage stamps on it. And I'm just cutting pieces for the outside of the spine and the inside of the spine, and trimming it off here with my scissors. I just cut it by hand. I kind of eyeball stuff when I do this, but it works out. The wider piece will go on the outside and the smaller piece will go on the inside. Get out my little craft iron. I'm going to press out the creases on the fabric. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Now I'm using some double-sided carpet tape to attach a piece of that fabric onto the smaller piece that I'm going to use on the inside of the spine. There I just placed the taped cardboard down on the inside of the fabric, and then I fold over the edges. Audition it every now and then, making sure that that's what I want. Marking off where I want my signatures to go, and then I'll use an awl to punch holes. I do a 5-holed pamphlet stitch. Now again, this is not a tutorial, so I moved this into fast forward, just showing you here I'm punching the holes there. You've all seen many videos of how to do a pamphlet stitch. Using some gold thread that I have there. The thread is really a strong thread. It's almost like using a wax thread. I don't believe it's waxed, but I got it at the thrift store. I really like the thread. Now I'm just sewing in the signatures. And you see I sew them onto that piece of cardboard that I covered with the fabric, and then I'll tape that down on the inside of my spine. It's just easier to do it that way than try to stitch the signatures on the spine itself. Now I'm just covering the inside of that inner spine piece. I'm getting ready to glue it down, and I've kind of skipped over some of the process of doing this, but Now I'm ready to cover the outside of the spine. cutting my fabric to size. Excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat. I recorded this whole thing. I'm doing a voiceover, and I accidentally deleted my first one, so I'm having to do this again. So my voice is a little scratchy. Sorry about that. Marking where I want to put the fabric. And then I'm using this carpet tape. I'm not really happy. I've just purchased this. This is not the carpet tape that I'm used to. It's more like a vinyl, double-sided vinyl tape. It doesn't have that texture that grabs onto the fabric nice. It says carpet tape on it, but it's more of a vinyl tape if you ask me. And I'm not happy with how, see, I could pull that fabric right up. So I am gluing it down with some Yes paste. And that worked for me. I should have used Yes paste anyway, but it just has a double bond now. And I'm very happy with it. In the end, I'm making sure that I have the edges glued down nice in the corners. And I'll do that on the back and then on the inside too. And I'll probably be re-gluing again. I tend not to. I think I get my corners and edges, but obviously I missed something when I first put it down. But then I've learned to go back and double check them. Now I have some washi tape. I actually got the washi tape at Keisha's Creations too. And it kind of blends into this fabric. It's kind of a map washi tape. And I glue that down onto the edges of that spine just to kind of straighten everything out and make it look nice and neat. And I'm very careful to leave the printing. I think the printing is a Slavic language. I'm not real sure, but it's not English. I know that. It could be Dutch. It could be Pennsylvania Dutch printing. There's not a whole lot of it on there, but I want to leave it. Now, because this is a soft cover spine, I'm just kind of flipping through everything. I have some ties that I got at the thrift store, and I found this really cool black and silver tie that I'm going to use for the closure. And I thought that I was going to, I cut a slit there. I thought I was going to thread that tie through, but I wasn't happy with how that was working, so I just decided to glue it onto the edge of the spine. I'm just auditioning everything now, and I'll mark where I want that tie to go eventually. And then I am working with the inside of the edge there on the inside. It's got some torn places. It's very weak, and so I'm strengthening it and mending it with a strip of that stamp fabric. And it all coordinates, so I'm pretty happy with it. And you'll see this better. Well, you'll see it again at when I do a slower walkthrough at the end of the video. Here I'm mending the back of the back cover too. It's got some torn spots on there. But you'll see it better when I actually start using the journal. I'm using my new phone to record this, and it has a wide angle view, and I can't set that until I actually start filming, and I'm not used to getting it close up. So you're seeing my entire desk area. So now I'm going to start and show you the walkthrough here. I've slowed down the video so that you can see what I've done better. This is opening it up. I'm showing you where I healed the torn areas. Talking about that little slit. I'm just going to leave that for now. And then I have about an inch of space between the cover and the first signature, and about an inch and a fourth between the two signatures. And I'm showing you where I have blank spaces at the beginning of each signature, and then I have the ledger pages that has all sorts of writing on it. It's very interesting. I'm not sure what I'll do with those ledger pages, but I like to add a little interest to my journals when I create them, and those ledger papers do the same. Now I got some space between the inside cover and the back, the second spine, showing how much space I have. It's a nice journal that will hold a lot of bulk, and my journals grow fat. That's all I can say. They grow fat. I add a lot to my journals, and I've got a lot of space. That back of the cover there has that strip there, so I know that is the back. Now I'm turning it flat out, and I'm going to glue the tie onto just the spine part. I've marked where I want it to go. I'm actually using a combination of glossy accent and yes paste to glue that tie down, and that seemed to work. I created this journal this morning. It took me about 4 hours. I'm just making sure that I have enough length on to tie my journal, my closure shut, and I'm just testing it out here. But it took me about 4 hours to create this video, so I didn't want to show the entire process. The TV was going, so I do like my new phone because I can set it on mute. Now I'm getting ready to glue everything down. Just get out my glossy accent, get out the yes paste. I put the yes paste on first, and I do that with my finger. And I have found that if I use my fingers to work the glue into the smaller spaces, that works because I can control where I'm putting it. I know where I'm putting it because I feel it. When I do an entire page, when I'm gluing like a page on the inside cover, I use my palette knife, and I tend to apply that yes paste pretty liberally. You don't need a lot of yes paste, but now I'm just putting one little strip of glossy accent down the center of my area there. Kind of got my head in the way. I'm sorry about that. I have to see where I'm going though. And then I'm just going to kind of spread that out, and I'll put my tie on that. And I worked on this journal this morning, and this is the evening, and I went in there and checked it, and it's nice and secure. I'm very happy with it. I thought I'd put an embellishment on the spine, but I'll probably do that probably at the end of January, after I've created the entire journal, because I don't want a lot of bulk on that spine because I will be working in it. But the journal, as you can see, lays nice and flat. It lays flat, so of course when I add bulky items to it, it won't be so flat anymore. Now I'm just tying it shut, getting it really ready for a thumbnail. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing how I created my journal. I make one a month. I have for the last couple years. So thank you for watching.